You look around your neighborhood and see everyone living what looks like the perfect dream. New electric trucks are parked in the driveways, and luxury renovations are happening on every corner. On social media, your friends are constantly posting photos from exotic vacations in Europe or the Maldives. It feels like you are the only one struggling to keep your head above water in this 2026 economy. You wonder how they can afford it all when the cost of living has reached record highs. Maybe you feel a sense of failure because your bank account does not seem to grow as fast as their lifestyle. But there is a massive secret hidden behind those pristine white fences and shiny car paint. The reality of modern wealth is almost never what it looks like on the outside. Today, we are going to peel back the layers of this financial illusion. We are going to look at the hard data from the Federal Reserve to see who actually owns these lives. What you discover might finally give you the peace of mind you have been searching for. For the past few years, we have been told that the economy is resilient and everyone is thriving. But if you look closer at the housing market, a very different story begins to emerge. Home prices have remained stubbornly high, making the American dream feel like an expensive trap. The typical first-time home buyer in 2026 is now spending nearly 50% of their gross income on a mortgage. Think about that for a moment before you feel jealous of that big house down the street. Half of their paycheck disappears before they even pay for electricity or buy a single bag of groceries. They are not homeowners in the traditional sense of the word. They are essentially high-priced tenants who are managed by a massive banking institution. The house looks beautiful in a photo, but it has become a golden cage that limits their freedom. One small medical emergency or a sudden job loss could bring the entire structure crashing down. When you see a large home, do not assume it is a sign of massive independent wealth. In many cases, it is just a sign of a massive monthly obligation that consumes every bit of their energy. Their budget is stretched so thin that they have zero room for error or actual savings. Now let's talk about the vehicles parked in those expensive driveways. Buying a new car has become one of the fastest ways people fake a high-status lifestyle. The latest statistics show that 20% of new car loans now have payments over $1,000 a month. And with current interest rates, many people are signing 7 or 8-year loans just to survive. Imagine paying over $1,000 every single month for a machine that loses value every day. By the time they finally own that vehicle, it will likely be ready for the scrap heap. The neighbor driving that luxury SUV might look successful while he is sitting at a red light. But that $1,000 payment is eating more than 20% of the median household income. That is money that could have been invested in a retirement account or a college fund for their children. Instead, it is being handed over to a lender to maintain a certain image for the world to see. It is a performance that requires constant work and high levels of daily stress. You might also be wondering how young families are affording these lifestyles on average salaries. The answer lies in something called the invisible subsidy from the older generation. A recent national survey found that 50% of parents are still providing regular financial help to adult children. On average, these parents are sending nearly $1,500 every month to help their kids stay afloat. This money covers everything from rent and car insurance to student loans and fancy vacations. While the adult children look like they are making it on their own, they are being heavily subsidized. This creates a false perception of success that makes everyone else feel like they are falling behind. What is even more concerning is that many of these parents are sacrificing their own future to do this. They are dipping into their own retirement savings just to help their kids maintain a certain social status. So when you see a young couple in a nice neighborhood, remember there might be a hidden checkbook involved. It is not about their hard work or business success, but rather a transfer of wealth from the past. But what happens when we look at the actual numbers for retirement savings in America? This is where the illusion of wealth truly starts to fall apart for most households. The median retirement savings for a household headed by someone age 62 is only around $200,000. That might sound like a decent amount of money at first glance. But when you apply the 4% withdrawal rule, that only generates about $800 a month. That is not enough to cover property taxes and basic utilities in most parts of the country. Even with Social Security, most people are facing a significant drop in their standard of living. They have spent decades looking rich while they were actually becoming poor in the long run. They prioritize the granite countertops and the new car over their own financial independence. Only about 1.8% of households in the United States have more than $2 million saved. That is the elite group that can truly afford the lifestyle we see advertised everywhere. Everyone else is just playing a very dangerous game of financial musical chairs. And as we move through 2026, the music is starting to slow down for many people. You also need to understand the difference between net worth and liquid assets. A person might have a net worth of $1 million because their home value skyrocketed. But you cannot go to the grocery store and pay for your eggs with a piece of your drywall. If they do not have cash or investments that produce income, they are still financially fragile. True retirement readiness comes from assets that pay you while you sleep. It does not come from living in an expensive building that requires constant maintenance and taxes. So many people are house rich but cash poor, living on the edge of a total breakdown. They have all their wealth tied up in a single asset that they cannot easily sell or use. This is the hidden reality of the middle-class struggle that no one wants to talk about. They are trapped by their own possessions and the debt required to keep them. So why do we continue to chase this hollow version of the American dream? It is because we naturally focus on the highlights of others while ignoring our own victories. Maybe you managed to save $50,000 in your retirement account this year. Maybe you decided to keep driving your 10-year-old car instead of taking on a massive loan. From the outside, it might not look like you are winning the race. But in reality, you are building a foundation of steel that will support you for decades. You are choosing freedom over the approval of people who are likely broke themselves. Every dollar you do not spend on interest is a dollar that can work for your future self. The path to real wealth is often boring, and it is almost always invisible to the public. It is found in the index funds and the high-yield savings accounts that no one sees. It is found in the peace of mind you feel when you know your bills are fully covered. Consider the power of the simple $120 a month strategy. If you consistently invest just $4 a day into a low-cost index fund, magic happens. Over 35 years, that small amount can grow into over $200,000. That is the same amount the average person has after a lifetime of stressful work. And that is only from the cost of a daily cup of coffee or a skipped snack. Imagine what happens if you can find $500 or $1,000 a month to invest. The snowball of compound interest starts to move faster and faster as the years go by. By the time you reach your 50s, your money is likely earning more than your actual job. This is the tipping point where you stop being a servant to money and it becomes your servant. You no longer have to worry about what the boss thinks or if the economy shifts. You have created your own personal safety net that is not dependent on a bank or a lender. This is what true success looks like in 2026 and beyond. It is not a new SUV or a massive kitchen with a marble island. It is the ability to walk away from any situation that does not serve your happiness. It is the freedom to spend your time with family and friends without checking your balance. Do not be distracted by the loud and flashy displays of wealth you see on your screen. Most of that is fueled by debt, stress, and a desperate need for external validation. Focus on your own journey and stay consistent with your boring but effective habits. The people who look the most successful are often the ones who are the most trapped. While the person driving the old car might be the one with $1 million in the bank, give yourself credit for the smart choices you are making every single day. You are building a life of substance rather than a life of shadows and mirrors. As we move forward, the gap between the fake rich and the truly wealthy will only grow. Make sure you are standing on the side of ownership and long-term security. Your future self will thank you for the discipline you are showing right now. Remember that you are only seeing the tip of the iceberg when you look at others. You do not see the credit card statements or the late-night arguments over bills. You do not see the fear in their eyes when they think about their empty retirement funds. Keep your focus on what truly matters and do not let the illusion steal your joy. Real wealth is quiet, it is confident, and it is entirely within your reach. Thank you for spending this time with me today to explore the truth. Make sure to take one small action today that moves you closer to your own freedom. Whether it is increasing your savings by 1% or paying off a small debt, every step counts and every victory belongs to you. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and choose to own your life instead of renting it.